Hello there, welcome to my views and news. Because in this video, I want to speak on Fano's strategy. I am naming this strategy. We can call this strategy soft terror policy. Fano supporters might not be happy with the way I am giving a name to this strategy. But now we're seeing clearly the outline of this strategy. The strategy is working. Ethiopia has seen white terror, red terror. Now it's the turn of soft terror for Ethiopia to see. Before that, two important developments about Fano's operations in the Amhara region. Two new developments. I tried to cover almost all activities related to Amhara Fano fighters. By the way, 3 months ago, when Fano fighters started regrouping themselves, and I covered that, several viewers said, Sajid, you are focusing too much on Amhara Fano fighters. Nothing is going to happen. Now everyone is talking about Fano fighters. Everyone is talking about Amhara region. Now international media is also acknowledging that Amhara region is becoming destabilized, which I predicted 3 months ago when Fano fighters were just regrouping themselves. I was in touch with people who knew the intentions of Fano fighters. That is why I was able to share the real picture from the ground with you. Now international media is starting to cover what is happening in the Amhara region. So far, local news outlets of Voice of America, BBC are covering the unrest in Amhara, but gradually you will see international media will cover. Some outlets are already covering the insurgency in the Amhara region. Because this insurgency will determine the future of Ethiopia, I believe. Ethiopia was Ethiopia out of a war just recently, last year, but another major conflict is now happening. And those who want to understand Ethiopia must understand what is happening in Amhara these days. We need to link what is happening in Amhara to what is happening in other parts of Ethiopia. That is how we can understand what can happen in Ethiopia in coming days. Two important developments from today about Fano's operations, about the insurgency in the Amhara region. Firstly, in West Gojam, a police station commander has resigned. Not the first resignation, but pattern is continuing. The area is Fano city, West Gojam zone. Here, first police station commander has resigned. His name is Ediso Gassase. He says, I cannot fight against Fano fighters. Resigned. And today I think I did a video on resignation of an Amhara PP member from Shorobetu, head of Amhara city level youth league, resigned. Several other resignations too in the Amhara region since the start of this insurgency. Now, resignation of security officials is more important than resignation of administrators, resignation of prosperity party members, because these security officials are the front line members. They are members of frontline force to stop Fano fighters. If security officials are resigning, you can understand what is on the ground situation. It means either security officials are scared or they have the loyalties with the Fano fighters. Whatever the reason is, but Ediso Gassas's resignation is part of a pattern which we are seeing, showing that security structure in the Amhara region is gradually collapsing. We cannot say it has totally collapsed, but collapse is starting. Secondly, second important development for today is that last year, I remember, several Fano trainers were arrested in Gojam, in Gondar. It was almost impossible to conduct training of youths in public. In several cities of the Amhara region last year, several trainers were arrested and some are still in prisons. And back then it wasn't allowed, it wasn't easy to tell the people through advertisements, through campaign that recruitment or training was going to be launched. Everything was being done in secret. Still, government forces, back then Amhara Special Force was operating to ASF members, Ethiopian National Defense Force. They used to ensure that no one was training Fano fighters. It happened last year. What is happening now in Amhara today? In Digadimot, which is again in Gojam, West Gojam, in Digadimot, 2 days ago, graduation ceremony of first recent batch of Fano recruits was held. Hundreds of Fano fighters completed their training. Immediately after that, we saw advertisement for the start of another round of training. For that, recruitment has started. Advertisement is being shared. The advertisement which is being shared clearly mentions the phone numbers of those who are organizing this training. No one is scared now, it seems. Fano fighters, Fano trainers, not scared. You can see the advertisement which has been shared in social media. It is from Digadimot. Eligibility criteria mentioned that the recruits must be over 18 with a valid ID card, no addiction, addiction free, no other restrictions. Phone numbers of organizers are mentioned. So anyone who want to be recruited can contact on these numbers. You see how much has the region changed. Last year, Fano fighters were on the run, trying to save themselves. This year, they are conducting trainings, conducting graduation ceremonies, publishing advertisements for new recruitments, and they are doing it publicly. Despite curfews imposed in some parts of Amhara region, Fano fighters were able to breach the curfew restrictions in the region. Now coming back to main topic, Fano strategy called soft terror. What is the meaning of soft terror? And did Ethiopia see soft terror in the past? Ethiopia saw red terror and white terror strategies adopted by groups and governments in the past. Mengistu's era saw red terror adopted by his security forces. IHAPA, Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Party, launched white terror to counter red terror. White terror, red terror clashed. White terror vanished. Red terror later vanish too. Now this is the turn of soft terror. What is the meaning of soft terror? Obviously, Fano fighters want to terrorize the local, regional, zonal, security, administrative setup. This is their deliberated policy. They want to terrorize the regional and after regional, federal too. So far, local, zonal, regional administration. How are they doing that? They are contacting these people. For example, if they want to terrorize a police chief, they are contacting him personally by a phone through people, telling him to distance himself from the operation activities against Fano. And then they start threatening. They share threats. They threaten the people in power on local, zonal, regional level. Not just the people, the individual themselves, but their families too. In some cases, families of these government officials, police officials, politicians in the Amhara region were contacted by Fano fighters. Families were threatened. And those who reject all these threats, then they become victims of Fano's assassinations. Fano then marks them as targets, and then through different means Fano fighters try to take them. But before that, warning shots are fired. Warning shots are fired, like hand grenades are thrown at a police station, at administrative building, at residence of some government official. And when hand grenades are thrown, Fano fighters know there is no one inside. So first they contact the people, tell them that Amhara people in danger, and being Amhara, those who have been contacted should support the Amhara Fano struggle. If they don't receive positive response, they start threatening. They threaten these government officials, their family members. Then warning shots are fired. And after that, if again the person is not responsive, he is eliminated. Soft terror, I call it, because Fano fighters give some time to these people. But those who are actively supporting the operation against Fano fighters, they are not being given chances. They are eliminated as soon as Fano fighters get a chance. So this is soft terror which we are seeing in the Amhara region. Soft terror. At the same time, Fano is projecting itself as someone who is working to save an entire ethnic group, Amhara people. They have tremendous penetration in the people. Whenever there is a public issue of any type, which involves government officials too, Fano fighters intervene to support the people, whether issue is religious, administrative, political, delivery of basic services, lack of fertilizers, whatever the issue is, which is the issue of common people, Fano fighters support common people. They get their sympathies, they get recruits, they get logistics. In Vagaltana, they enter the town to support protest taken out against an ENDF member who had allegedly raped a girl there. People protesting, Fano fighters supported them, ENDF had to retreat. In some other parts, we saw they supported protests by Amhara farmers. And in Gondar yesterday, West Gambia, they supported people who were protesting against alleged disrespect of Orthodox tradition. When ENDF members slaughtered cows, people were angry that on Wednesday cows were being slaughtered, drinks were being served. Religious leaders fueled the conflict. Fano fighters exploited the situation. Wherever there is a public issue in which Fano fighters can intervene to get public support and sympathy and use the issue against local government, against security officials, against ENDF, they jump in to the conflict and get public support. That is why I call it soft terror. On the one hand, they are working in support of Amhara people. On the other hand, ruthlessly they are assassinating those who are doing their assigned job. I mean, the job of security officials, their assigned job is that they follow government's instructions. They cannot violate government's instructions. Fano fighters want these government officials to support Fano fighters. How can they do that? They cannot. This is a violation of their task, their responsibilities, which they are responsible for. So overall, we can sum up views that in the Amhara, we are seeing a new strategy adopted by Fano fighters, which is working very effectively. This strategy is being used by Fano fighters mainly because somehow Fano has built this narrative that Amhara people are in danger. Federal government, federal forces, ENDF is enemy of Amhara people. ENDF wants to crush Amhara people. This narrative is selling. ENDF, federal government, has failed to launch a counter narrative. Soft terror is working in the Amhara region. Thank you for watching.